1. 집에서의 일과 I spend most of my time at home doing household chores and relaxing. During the week, I prioritize cleaning and organizing my space. I make it a habit to cook my own meals as I find it important to eat healthy. In the evenings, I schedule some time for reading or watching TV. On weekends, I like to set aside time to catch up on hobbies like playing the guitar or painting. I always make time for family, so we usually have dinner together. I believe in the importance of maintaining a balanced routine at home. If I am not busy, I make sure to go for a walk in the neighborhood. It turns out that I often spend my free time at home enjoying small but meaningful activities. 2. 집에서 가족과 보내는 시간. I always make time for my family when I am at home. In the evenings, we have dinner together and talk about our day. I find it important to communicate with them regularly. On weekends, we schedule some time for activities like watching a movie or playing board games. I like to keep a balance by spending quality time with my family while also having personal time. My usual routine is to help my parents with chores and cook meals together. If I am not busy, I make sure to go grocery shopping with them. I have a habit of taking short walks with my siblings in the evening. It has become a part of my daily life to cherish moments with my loved ones. 3. 영화관 방문 루틴. Whenever I have some spare time, I like to go to the movies. Before watching a movie, I usually check online reviews and book my tickets in advance. I make it a habit to buy popcorn and a drink before entering the theater. While watching, I try to stay focused and enjoy the storyline. I tend to spend my evenings at the cinema with close friends or family. After the movie, I always make time to discuss the plot and characters with my companions. If I am not busy, I make sure to visit a nearby cafe and talk about our favorite scenes. Watching movies has become a part of my daily life, and I find joy in experiencing different genres. 4. 공원 방문 시 하는 활동. I like to keep a balance by visiting the park whenever I have some spare time. On a typical visit, I usually take a walk and enjoy the fresh air. I make it a habit to bring a book and read under a tree. If I am not busy, I make sure to exercise by jogging or stretching. Sometimes I schedule some time for a picnic with friends or family. I find it important to relax and appreciate nature. It turns out that I often take photos of the beautiful scenery. My usual routine is to sit on a bench and listen to music. Visiting the park has become a part of my daily life, as it helps me refresh my mind. 누나 커피숍 방문 시 루틴. I always make time for a coffee break when I have some spare time. My usual routine is to visit my favorite cafe and order an iced latte. I tend to spend my mornings reading a book or working on my laptop while sipping coffee. If I am not busy, I make sure to meet up with a friend and have a chat. It has become a part of my daily life to enjoy the calm atmosphere of a coffee shop. I find it important to take short breaks during the day. I also like to keep a balance by trying different cafes in the city. On weekends, I schedule some time for relaxing and people watching at a cozy cafe. 6. 쇼핑 루틴. Whenever I have some spare time, I go shopping. I make it a habit to create a shopping list before heading out. I prioritize buying essential items first, such as groceries or household supplies. After that, I take my time browsing for clothes or accessories. I find joy in discovering new trends and good deals. If I am not busy, I make sure to stop by a cafe and take a break. On weekends, I tend to spend my afternoons at the mall with friends. I always make time for checking out bookstores because I enjoy reading. It turns out that I often spend more time window shopping than actually buying things. 7. 음악 감상 루틴. I dedicate a portion of my day to listening to music. I have a set routine for playing my favorite songs while commuting. If I am not busy, I make sure to attend live concerts. I believe in the importance of music as a way to relax and express emotions. On weekends, I schedule some time for discovering new artists and genres. It turns out that I often listen to music while studying or working. I find joy in creating playlists for different moods. Sometimes, I enjoy singing along to my favorite songs. I prioritize music in my daily schedule because it helps me stay motivated. Listening to music has become a part of my daily life. 있습니다. 눌러. 독서 습관. I try to set aside time to read every day. My usual routine is to read for at least 30 minutes before bed. I find it important to explore different genres, from fiction to self-help books. Whenever I have some spare time, I visit a bookstore or library. On weekends, I make sure to read in a quiet cafe while enjoying a cup of coffee. It turns out that I often lose track of time when reading an interesting book. I prioritize reading in my daily schedule because it helps me expand my knowledge. I always make time for books that inspire me. Reading has become a part of my daily life, and I find joy in discovering new stories. 9. 운동 루틴. I make sure I get around to exercising at least 3 times a week. I have a set routine for working out at the gym. My usual routine is to start with stretching, then do weight training and cardio. I always try to squeeze in some time for jogging in the park on weekends. If I am not busy, I make sure to do home workouts. I believe in the importance of staying fit and healthy. I prioritize exercise in my daily schedule because it gives me energy. It has become a part of my daily life to stay active. I find joy in improving my strength and endurance. I plan my week around my fitness goals. 10. 눌러. 여행 준비 과정. I schedule some time for planning before going on a trip. My usual routine is to research destinations and book accommodations in advance. I always make time for creating an itinerary to organize my activities. I consider it essential to pack carefully and double-check my belongings. I have a habit of making a checklist to ensure I don't forget anything. Whenever I have some spare time, I read travel blogs for tips. I like to keep a balance by including both sightseeing and relaxation in my trip. I find joy in experiencing new cultures and trying local food. I dedicate a portion of my day to learning basic phrases in the local language. Traveling has become a part of my life. 11. 눌러. 휴가 중 하는 활동. Whenever I have some chance, I always go sightseeing when I travel. I prioritize visiting famous landmarks and historical sites. I find joy in taking photos and capturing beautiful moments. I make it a habit to try local dishes and experience new flavors. I like to keep a balance by including both adventurous and relaxing activities. I schedule some time for shopping and buying souvenirs for my friends. If I am not busy, I make sure to explore hidden spots and less crowded places. I dedicate a portion of my trip to interacting with locals and learning about their culture. I always make time for enjoying nature, whether it's beaches, mountains, or parks. 12. Cela nula 해변 방문 루틴. I tend to spend my summer days at the beach whenever I have some spare time. I prioritize bringing essentials like sunscreen, a towel, and snacks. My usual routine is to take a walk along the shore and enjoy the fresh air. I make it a habit to swim and play in the water. I always make time for relaxing under an umbrella with a book. It turns out that I often collect seashells as souvenirs. If I am not busy, I make sure to watch the sunset before heading home. I find joy in listening to the sound of waves. A trip to the beach has become a part of my summer routine. 13. Cela nula 건강을 유지하는 방법. I believe in the importance of a healthy lifestyle. I prioritize eating a balanced diet and exercising regularly. I find it important to drink enough water and get enough sleep. I make sure I get around to working out at least 3 times a week. Whenever I have some spare time, I go for a walk or stretch my body. I like to keep a balance by managing stress through meditation and hobbies. It turns out that I often choose stairs instead of elevators for extra movement. If I am not busy, I make sure to prepare homemade meals instead of eating out. Staying healthy has become a part of my daily life. 14. 기술 사용 방식. I dedicate a portion of my day to using technology. My usual routine is to check emails and messages in the morning. I find it important to stay updated with news and trends through online platforms. I make sure I get around to watching educational videos to learn new skills. Whenever I have some spare time, I listen to podcasts on my smartphone. I prioritize using technology for work and entertainment. If I am not busy, I make sure to organize my files and clear unnecessary apps. I like to keep a balance by limiting my screen time before bed. It has become a part of my daily life to rely on technology for convenience. 15. Cela nula 전화 통화 루틴. I always make time for talking on the phone with my family and friends. My usual routine is to check in with my parents in the morning and catch up with my friends in the evening. I tend to spend about 20 minutes talking to them, depending on the topic. If I am not busy, I make sure to do other tasks while on the phone, like making dinner or doing light chores. I believe in the importance of staying connected with loved ones. I make it a habit to check up on my relatives regularly. I always try to squeeze in a quick call if something exciting happens. Talking on the phone is a part of my daily routine. 16. Cela nula 인터넷 서핑 루틴. Whenever I have some spare time, I enjoy surfing the internet. I prioritize checking social media for updates from friends and family. I make it a habit to read news articles or blogs about my hobbies and interests. If I am not busy, I often watch YouTube videos for entertainment or learning. I find it important to balance my time online by staying productive. On weekends, I like to research travel destinations or new technology. I always make time to catch up on my favorite websites. It turns out that I spend a lot of time reading reviews on products before buying them. Browsing the internet has become a part of my daily routine. 17. 은행 거래 루틴. I usually handle my banking tasks online. My typical routine is to check my account balance and make sure all transactions are in order. Whenever I need to transfer money or pay bills, I schedule some time for those activities. I believe in the importance of managing finances carefully. If I am not busy, I make sure to visit the bank for any in-person transactions, like cashing checks. I make it a habit to keep track of my spending and savings. On occasion, I meet with my bank advisor to discuss financial plans. I prioritize managing my finances to avoid any issues later. Banking has become an essential part of my routine. 18. 쇼핑몰 방문 루틴. Whenever I have some spare time, I visit the shopping mall. I tend to start by looking for clothing or accessories. I make sure I get around to checking for sales and discounts. I always like to take my time and explore different stores. If I am not busy, I make sure to grab a snack or drink at the food court. On weekends, I enjoy spending more time shopping and trying on new clothes. I find it important to look for seasonal items to update my wardrobe. It turns out that I often meet friends while shopping. Visiting the mall has become a part of my weekend routine. 19. 셀라 누라. 주말 활동. On weekends, I usually relax and recharge for the upcoming week. I like to keep a balance by spending time with family and friends. My usual routine includes going for a walk in the park or having a picnic. If I am not busy, I schedule some time for a movie or dinner out. I believe in the importance of taking a break from work to enjoy life. Whenever I have some spare time, I visit local events or markets. It turns out that I often meet new people during these outings. Weekend activities have become an essential part of my life for unwinding. 20. 셀라 누라. 음악 듣기 루틴. Whenever I have some spare time, I listen to music to relax. I make it a habit to listen to my favorite songs during my commute. My usual routine is to play calming music in the evening to help me wind down. I prioritize creating playlists based on my mood. If I am not busy, I try to discover new music on streaming platforms. On weekends, I enjoy listening to live performances or concerts. I find joy in exploring different genres and artists. I always make time for music because it helps me de-stress. Listening to music has become an important part of my daily routine. 21. 공부 루틴. I make sure I get around to studying regularly. I prioritize studying in the evenings when I am most focused. I find it important to set goals and break down tasks into smaller chunks. Whenever I have some spare time, I review notes or study materials. I tend to spend about 2 hours each session and take breaks in between. If I am not busy, I make sure to go over practice exams to improve my skills. I like to keep a balance by studying in a quiet place with no distractions. Studying has become a habit that I find essential to my success. 22. 집안일 루틴. I always make time for cleaning and organizing my home. My usual routine is to clean the kitchen and living room in the morning. I dedicate some time in the afternoon for laundry and tidying up my bedroom. Whenever I have some spare time, I do light chores like wiping down surfaces or rearranging furniture. If I am not busy, I make sure to clean the bathroom and vacuum the floors. I like to keep a balance by doing chores little by little throughout the week. I believe in the importance of a clean and organized space as it helps me feel more productive. Talk to 피트니스 루틴. I have a set routine for staying fit. I usually work out in the morning, starting with stretching and a warm-up. I dedicate some time to strength training, then finish with cardio exercises. If I am not busy, I make sure to walk or jog in the park. On weekends, I try to schedule a longer workout or join a fitness class. I always make time for exercise because it keeps me healthy and energized. I like to keep a balance by mixing up different activities, such as yoga or cycling. Fitness has become a part of my daily life, and I enjoy challenging myself to improve. 24. 스포츠 관람 루틴. I find that it helps to watch sports regularly to stay connected with my favorite teams. I make it a habit to follow the games of my favorite sports, especially football and basketball. Whenever I have some spare time, I watch highlights or full matches. I always make time to watch live broadcasts of major events. If I am not busy, I like to watch games with friends at home or at a sports bar. I find joy in discussing strategies and players with fellow fans. Watching sports has become a regular part of my weekends, and it helps me unwind. 25. 일기 쓰기 루틴. I always make time to write in my journal. I dedicate a portion of my day to reflecting on my thoughts and experiences. I tend to write for about 15-20 minutes in the evening. I find it important to express my feelings and clear my mind. Whenever I have some spare time, I write about my goals or daily achievements. If I am not busy, I make sure to add a few notes about the things I am grateful for. I have a habit of writing in my journal every day, and it has become a part of my nightly routine. Writing helps me stay focused and motivated. 26. 휴식 루틴. I always try to squeeze in some time for relaxation each day. My usual routine is to meditate or do breathing exercises in the morning. I prioritize having a few quiet moments before starting my day. Whenever I have some spare time, I take a short nap or do light stretching. If I am not busy, I make sure to enjoy a peaceful walk in nature. I find it important to recharge my energy through rest. On weekends, I schedule some time for self-care, such as taking a bath or reading a book. Rest has become an essential part of my routine to stay balanced. 27. 친구와 보내는 시간. Whenever I have some chance, I always meet up with my friends. We tend to go out for coffee or a meal together. I make sure to schedule time for them on weekends. I believe in the importance of maintaining strong friendships, so we often plan outings or activities. I find joy in talking and laughing with my friends. If I am not busy, we like to go to a movie or explore new places in the city. It turns out that I often spend more time with friends than I plan. Friendship has become an essential part of my life, and I cherish every moment spent with them. 28. 자원봉사 루틴. I make it a habit to volunteer when I have some spare time. I prioritize helping at local events or community centers. My usual routine is to spend a few hours each week assisting with various tasks. I believe in the importance of giving back to the community. Whenever I have some free time, I schedule activities like cleaning parks or helping at shelters. I always try to squeeze in some time for charity work. If I am not busy, I make sure to support fundraising efforts or participate in community events. Volunteering has become a rewarding part of my weekly routine. 29. 요리 루틴. I always make time for cooking because I enjoy trying new recipes. My usual routine is to prepare dinner in the evening after finishing my work. I like to experiment with different ingredients and cuisines. Whenever I have some spare time, I try to bake or cook a special dish. I find it important to use fresh ingredients to ensure healthy meals. If I am not busy, I make sure to meal prep for the week. Cooking has become a part of my daily life, and I find joy in sharing meals with my family. 30. 계획 세우기 루틴. Whenever I have some spare time, I like to plan ahead. My usual routine is to organize my tasks for the week on Sundays. I find it important to prioritize my goals and set realistic deadlines. I always make time to review my progress and adjust my plans accordingly. If I am not busy, I schedule some time for long-term projects. I like to keep a balance by planning both work and leisure activities. I believe in the importance of staying organized to reduce stress. Planning has become a part of my daily routine, and it helps me stay focused and motivated.